It's so hard with this angle. Oh, f off. Woo. I'm not recording. Finger slipped. What's up guys, Matt from footballboots.co.uk, and what a treat we have for you today. We have got the brand new Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3, so let's lace them up and give you a full test and review. Oh baby, baby. So what exactly are we looking at today? Well, in hand we've got the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3DF, which stands for Dynamic Fit Collar, but it's also going to be an alternative model. If you remember earlier in the season we had the Nike Hypervenom Finish with that low cut model. It's going to be the same. It's not going to be called the Finish anymore. It's going to be called the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3. So it's up to you. You can either go for the low cut Phantom 3 or mid cut Phantom 3DF. So we mentioned how there's going to be a mid-cut and low-cut variation on the Phantom 3. But looking at the previous generation, we can see that the mid-cut Phantom 2 features that Flyknit base and it changes to a Nike skin. Now the difference between the Phantom 2 and the Finish was that the Finish didn't feature any Flyknit at all, it was all over Nike skin. Now the difference between the second gen and the all-new third gen is that the mid-cut and low-cut are going to be incredibly similar boots. They're both going to be made up of that Flyknit material base, but the one difference is there's going to be a mid-cut on the Phantom 3DF like here, and also there's going to be a low-cut Phantom 3. So how do the Phantom 3 boots feel on feet for the first time? Now Tommy's lacing them up and he said how they're fairly soft to start out with. By saying that, they're going to get much softer after a few sessions. So although they might feel a little bit stiff to start out with, they're going to get incredibly soft. You just give them a few hours just to break them before wearing them for your matches. So what kind of fit can you expect from the new Phantom 3? Now it's got quite a wide midfoot, which is great for wide-footed players. By saying that, it's got quite a narrow toe box, so it's also good for narrow-footed players. Because it has those exposed laces, if I just come in a little bit closer, we can just see that those lace holes are actually exposed from the boot, so it creates a very sock-like fit because your foot is actually attached from the bottom of the sole plate all the way to the lacing system. So it's a brilliant thing to have. So overall the fit is going to be very universal, very snug, locked down and responsive. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of you guys out there wanting a pair of these boots, but what size do you actually get? Now the best thing about the Phantom 3DF and also the low cut model is they're going to fit true to size. So if you've worn the Hypervenom before, go for the size you went for previously, but also if you haven't worn them before, just go for your standard size because they do fit true. So as always, the most important factor of any football boot for me, and that's the performance. Now we're probably going to split it up into two categories, and that's ball striking and ball feel. Now that's exactly what you're going to get from the Phantom 3DF boots. You really get a real nice level of purchase and grip when touching and striking the ball. Now alongside that, you also get some real nice high level performance and responsiveness and lockdown from the flywire cables either side of the boot and that new hyper reactive sole plate. So for the first time in the Hypervenom history, we've got an entire Flyknit base. If we look at the Phantom 2, we can see that Flyknit makes up the Dynamic Fit Collar a little bit around the heel and also through that lacing system, but then it stops and reverts to a Nike skin. Now what the Phantom 3 has is that Flyknit upper all across the boot. We've got it from the heel to the toe through the Dynamic Fit Collar and also through that lacing system, and we can see just how seamless it is. It doesn't feature any of those parts where it changes to the Nike skin. It has that Flyknit base and the Nike skin just goes on top of it, so it's incredibly smooth, so it means it's going to be very seamless and also very sock-like. So we've spoken about how the Phantom 3DF is a Flyknit boot, but what's happening with the upper itself? Now we can see that it has that raised dimple upper, a little bit similar to the Magista Obra 2 when that was released. It had that raised dimples, and that's exactly what you're going to get from the Phantom 3 as well. It's very, very prominent. Running my thumb over the top, and you can just feel every single bump on there. If I bring it up closer to the camera, hopefully you can just see just how prominent it is. So when you are striking the ball, hopefully it gives you a little bit more purchase and a little bit more grip, which are great for performance benefits. So let's talk about one of the all new additions Nike have put on their Phantom 3, and something which I personally think is a great addition. They've given the sock lining themselves Nike grip technology across that forefoot portion, but not only that, on the heel of the plate and also at the toe, which you probably can't see. But what it does is literally give you a little bit more grip, which is a great thing, as some sock liners in some boots can actually slip a little bit. So we've just said how the upper features those raised dimples across the upper, but what's actually happening inside the boot? Now, although we can't really see it because of that dynamic fit collar, if I place my hand inside, we can feel that it has those raised bumps also inside of the boot. Now, first of all, that's going to be really nice for a cushion touching the ball, but it also feels very comfortable because it has an almost memory foam-like material. So one of the biggest talking points of the Hypervenom Phantom 3 is its redesigned collar. Now, it's much higher on the medial side of the boot compared to the lateral side. And when the Magista Obra 2 was relaunched, we saw that that had a redesigned collar as well. So the Phantom 3 has actually followed suit. We don't know the specific reasons why it's actually high on the medial side compared to the lateral side, but overall it's actually a little bit shorter than what we found on the first generation of dynamic fit collars. It's actually a little bit more similar to CR7's lower version on his Superfly 5s. So the Phantom 3DF has its collar changed, it has its upper changed, but it also has its sole plate changed as well. Now it still has that split toe design, as we can see by the toe here, but it's actually made from that hyper-reactive technology. And what that actually means is going to be incredibly responsive. Now it has those bladed studs on the lateral side of the boot, really good for a little bit of agility. Now, saying that, on the medial side, we've got those more kind of hexagonal shapes, which are great for pivoting. So they're going to be great for kind of wingers who like to change direction quickly, but also good for midfielders that need to pivot and turn very quickly as well. So something I personally really like about the Phantom 3 is the sole plate and how it has that slight external heel counter. Now, although it just adds a little bit more lockdown, I think it just gives the boot a little bit of a cooler look. Now, alongside that, we can just see around the toe and midfoot, it has that wavy design where the sole plate meets the upper. The outside of the boot, the lateral side, looks a little bit like that zigzag graphic of the Phantom 2 and also finish. It looks good, and also hopefully it means that it won't be as much sole separation, as the upper and sole plate might not get caught into the ground as much. Nice side net. So who's actually going to be wearing Nike's latest innovation? We'll expect to see the likes of Robert Lewandowski, Edinson Cavani and Aubameyang all lacing up in the new Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3, so I expect lots of goals to come in this specific model. So let's talk about the actual timeline of the Hypervenom so far. Now, of course, it was the Phantom 1 release first of all, which had that honeycomb Nike skin all over. And what happened was, for the second generation, Nike released this new Nike skin upper, which was very stiff. A lot of players, both professional and amateur, didn't like it. They thought it was too stiff. So what Nike did, they went back to that original honeycomb Nike skin, which was much softer. And we can just, it has that Flyknit and then changes to the Nike skin. But what they've done now for this new Phantom 3DF is they've given it that Flyknit base all over the boot from heel to toe, but then they've given it a Nike skin upper all across that, and we can just see that it's got that Flyknit base. We can see with the two-tone running across the boot, and they've given it a very thin Nike skin upper on top. We can see very closely, you can just see that Flyknit underneath, which just shows you how thin this new Nike skin upper is to touch and feel on feet. So there's no doubt these Phantom 3 boots are great. I personally really like them. I think they're well made and really well constructed. Now, one negative that I may have is the design. We can see that it's got that half and half design, slightly off center, so a little bit different to the Superfly 5. Now, it's got electric green on the lateral side panel and total orange on the medial side panel with some black detailing for Nike swooshes. Now, this is how they look in hand, but this is also how they look on Tommy's feet. Let us know in the poll whether you're a fan or not. For me, I'm personally not a great fan. I don't really like the Superfly with a half and half, so I don't really like these Phantom 3 boots design. So hopefully we'll see some blackout colorways or all over one colorway designs in the future. Guys, these boots are a serious upgrade from the Phantom 2. So overall, the footballboots.co.uk team give these a massive thumbs up. The Hypervenom Phantom 3 are made with high-level craftsmanship and also some lovely additions of technologies. So overall, massive positive for the Phantom 3 boots. Hope this has given you an insight into Nike's newest model. Thanks for watching. Cheers.